SoundCloud. And here we go. Once again, thank you everybody for joining. This is the March 2026 meeting of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association Planning and Zoning Subcommittee. My name is Tyler Lane. I am one of the co-chairs of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. I kind of handle the planning and zoning stuff. I'm joined today by Mark. Well, introduce yourself, Margaret. Go ahead.
I'm Margaret Farmer. I'm the other co-chair of the Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association. I am so excited that Tyler is running this meeting and I don't have to.
That being said, I do want to say, for any of you who've been to one of these before, um, normally my wife is here. She's at a work event tonight, so I am solo parenting a 2.5-year-old and a rather annoying dog. So if you see me kind of look the other way or motion to somebody, that's why. So I apologize in advance for that. Again, these meetings are recorded. This recording will be available via our website, which is jeffreyspoint.org. These are hosted on YouTube. However, they're not searchable. You can only get to it via a link on our website. Also, all the materials and everything we're talking about today that are going to be presented are also available via our website. So if you just go scroll over to the project development area, there's a developments folder, and that'll just kind of link you to a Google Drive. You just kind of follow the signs to Everett Street. You'll be able to find it. And with that, we're here today to actually talk about 250 Everett Street. I'm going to just read off the little bit that was on the agenda. Basically, what's being presented to us for the first time is basically a proposal to change the occupancy from a single family to 4 units at a fourth floor and terrace, add parking for 1 vehicle in the rear yard, and install a groundwater recharge system. And just so that everybody knows the process for this is kind of the initial presentation to the Planning and Zoning Subcommittee. Anything that gets basically built in our neighborhood that requires a variance from the city, we ask that it kind of comes through us first. We kind of talk about it. We initially present at one of these planning and zoning subcommittees. And once kind of all of our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted, we then do the presentation again at a full Jeffreys Point Neighborhood Association monthly meeting, at which point we then take a vote. And that vote is open to people who have attended 2 of the last, I believe, 3 or 4 monthly meetings, and then also anybody who qualifies as a direct abutter or who would get a flyer for one of these meetings. So anybody, don't quote me on this, I want to say it's a 250 or 300 foot radius. But anybody who's a direct abutter also qualifies. So if you come to the next monthly meeting, if you're somebody who, hey, I've never been to a JPNA meeting before, but I live next door and I want to vote, you'll be able to vote on this project when it comes to a vote. After that,
Can I clarify one thing?
Go ahead,
Tyler,
Margaret.
so you need to be present at the meeting that this is
Yes.
presented at, and that counts as one. And then have attended one meeting in the previous 3 months, and the potluck in December didn't count for. So people who attended the potluck in December were and showed up to the March meeting where we had some things going on, were eligible to vote. So go ahead.
Direct abutters, however, if they attend the voting meeting, which would be the meeting after this, they are eligible to vote as well. I'm not a direct abutter for this project, but since I come to a lot of these meetings, I'll be able to vote in the project. However, if you're a direct abutter, yet the voting meeting, like the next meeting where we present this, that's the first meeting you've ever attended, you would still be eligible to vote as long as you come to that one particular meeting. All that being said, I'm going to turn it over to this point, I think, to Mark Lacasse, who is the attorney who's presenting the project. And I'll kind of let you go from there. Mark, do you want to share your sort of slides or images, or would you prefer me to?
I have them ready to go, or if you have them ready
Sure.
to go.
No, you can. If you've got them ready to go for it. I also want to say for any folks who are here, if you have any questions, let's let kind of Mark present, and we'll hold our questions to the end. There's a couple of different ways to go about this. We do have a chat function, so if you want to type your question in the chat, feel free. If you want to sort of remain anonymous or something like that, but still want to make sure your question is asked, you can write in the chat to either myself. There's a way to kind of send a private message. You can either write to myself or Margaret. We're happy to ask those questions on your behalf. And then also, if you have questions after the fact, if you think of something, I'm one of these people, I always think of something after the meeting is ended. You can always email us at board@jeffreyspoint.org, and we'd be happy to bring that forward for you. Go ahead, Mark.
Great. Thank you so much, Tyler and Margaret, for hosting. My name is Mark Lacasse. My office is Lacasse Law at 177 Huntington Ave in Boston. And I represent the owner of this property, Ilian Padinkov, who is also with us tonight. And we are happy to share with you our plans to take this small building, which is in dire need of love and attention and repair, and turn it into something that is interesting and contextual to the neighborhood, and provide a couple extra units of housing for the area. We did already have our abutter meeting last fall, and it was lightly attended, but I would say fairly well received in terms of some comments. There were some specific requests of Elian to provide further information to direct abutters, and he has done that since then. And both for the abutter meeting and for this meeting, Elian personally undertook to flyer the 300-foot radius just so he could meet as many people as possible and talk to as many people as possible in that process, and that yielded some success in terms of meeting some folks in the neighborhood. And he's available and always accessible, as am I, to answer any questions about this project. So with that introduction, I will share with you the site plans and floor plans that we submitted to ISD back in August of 2025, which resulted in ISD issuing a zoning code refusal letter, which is very typical in how the process works in Boston, citing certain items of conditional use permits and variances which are required for this project. In terms of quantifying those, while there are 6 of them cited, 2 of them are pre-existing, 2 of them are conditional use, and 2 of them are variances, and they're all very modest in terms of scale and degree of what's being sought because
Mark, did you
yeah.
have slides to share
Yep,
so
I'm
that
getting to
you,
that. I'm just
okay,
this is my talking portion.
okay.
And I'll pull up the
Just
slides.
wanted, I just
Setting
wanted
the
to check. Some people that,
yep, yep,
different.
yep. Context, and then with that, I will take your cue, Margaret, and share the slides because picture's worth 1,000 words. All right, here we are, and okay, can everyone see that? Yes.
You're good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. So as you can see, these were reviewed by the Inspectional Services Department for the Zoning Board of Appeal by Darrell Boyd on August 27 of 2025. And typical of every building permit application, you have to submit a certified plot plan showing existing conditions, and that is what is here before you. Sorry, it's at an angle. If I flip it, this PDF, something about how ISD created it. If I flip it, it reduces to like microscopic. So here's Everett Street along the left-hand side. Everett Court is a smaller private way. The lot area is rather tiny. It's a 795 square foot parcel with the outline of the existing structure shown with those hatch marks. There is a porch in the backyard that's in significant disrepair, but you can see there is a little backyard area off Everett Court. And then the proposed site plan simply shows, again, the lot area of 795 square feet with the existing structure and the proposed parking area instead of the porch, parking for 1 car in the rear yard. And then here along the back of the existing structure and in the front of the existing structure, which will become more clear on the elevations, there's a proposed 2-foot bump out starting on the 2nd floor, going up just to create a little more floor space given how relatively small the existing structure is. All right, so next we have, sorry, it's jumping around on me. Hold on. Okay. All right. So, sorry. Okay. So the existing basement is simply underutilized space, and the proposed basement plan is to join it with the existing first floor to create a duplex unit, Unit 1, which, um, yes, which would have the kitchen in the lower level, no bedroom space because that's generally disfavored. And then on the first floor, it would be the bedrooms and two bathrooms, creating Unit 1 as a duplex on the basement and ground floor level. Then going up the structure, the proposed second floor plan would have a two bed, two bath unit, which is, nice to have the extra bathrooms. And the third floor is identical to the second floor. And then the proposal is to add a fourth floor to this structure, which would be a one bedroom unit of approximately 425 square feet with a nice little walkout terrace for some usable open space for that top floor unit. And then next we'll turn to the elevations to help you understand how that will all look in context. So this is the existing front elevation of the building and the existing rear elevation. So on the front, and bear in mind that regarding the top floor addition, this is a two-dimensional and not three-dimensional, so it looks like it's right up to the edge, but there is that walkout terrace, so it's not as blunt as it seems on elevation. Adding the top floor with the walkout terrace, and in the rear it would be sort of symmetrical, and the window alignments would be similar to the existing three floors below. Existing right elevation is here, existing left elevation is blank, and then here you can get a sense for how the top floor box, if you will, with the walkout terrace and the 2 foot extensions in the front and the rear of the building would play out on the elevation. There's a proposed little storage area for trash and other utilities here on the side. And there's the small walkout terrace on the front. So those are the plans. We do have some fun renderings that Elian had produced from a local artist to maybe dress up the building with some interesting art, and I will share those, pulling them up now, and I will share those momentarily. Okay, let me close out the plans. All right, and let me switcheroo. What are you seeing on the screen now?
You know what? We're seeing the zoning letter.
Oh,
Here, you know what? Let me do this. I'll do you one better. There you go. Can you see it on my screen?
I only see people now.
Oh, you only see people. I'm seeing Margaret with a thumbs up. Does everybody else kind of see some renderings? Mark, just play around with your Zoom for a second because I
Yep.
think I've got the renderings up for
Yeah,
folks.
gray building,
Oh, Tyler, yeah.
Yeah,
front
Yep.
can you see
deck.
it now, Mark?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I was on the wrong tab. Got it.
Yep. Cool. So
Okay.
I just have, yeah, so it looks like I just these three images, right?
Yep, exactly. So let's start with the other one, sort of the front of the building.
Sure. Yep.
Yep, there we are. So there's the front. You can see how the 2 foot bump out on the second and third floor sort of create that shadow image across the front. And then the walkout terrace, and you get a better sense of how the top floor addition is kind of set back, so it's not really directly visible when you're across the street. And then the next image is on the side of the building is just a blank wall. And Elian has noticed several examples of developers that have done very interesting murals in East Boston reflecting its proximity to the ocean, reflecting its seafaring history, reflecting all kinds of interesting subject matters. And with the blank slate, asked a local artist to sort of um, conjure some artistic images that might make for an interesting mural. And this is what he came up with. It's sort of an octopus and the sea, just to create something interesting on the side of an otherwise blank structure. None of that, of course, is subject to zoning review. It's just something that Elian undertook to try to make the building more interesting. And the next image is just from the little side private way showing the single car parking space, the 2 foot bump out on the second and third and fourth floors, and how it relates to the existing structure. And again, a different angle of the very interesting and vibrantly colored octopus under the sea. Um, so with that, we are happy to answer any questions and hear your feedback.
I'll take just 1 minute. I'll be brief. And just saying, we're local here in the area, live right down the street. Um, I had been visiting my now wife for, God, three, almost 4 years now in Jeffries Point, and fell in love with it so much that we actually bought our first home here last May. Crazy, I think it's almost a year ago now. But it's been really cool to just watch the development of Jeffries Point, and kind of the restoration. And from driving by this building on a daily basis on my way to work and walking by it, when we're out, I was curious to see if somebody was going to take hold of it. And I think it's really cool to see something else in the works as part of that restoration and revamping of Jeffrey's Point, and it's just cool as a homeowner to see something else that's just increasing value in the neighborhood, and it's all positive. And bonus that we're adding to the murals that we see in East Boston. I think that one looks really cool, and I think it'll be a great place, and a great fix in that particular location.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Oh, I just am remembering that you said you had on your screen the zoning code refusal letter. Happy to go through those if anyone wants to hear that or
Do you mind actually? Yeah. What are
yeah,
the? Go ahead, Margaret. Oh well, no,
I
no. I was going to say, yeah. What are the actual variances? I mean, you don't have to get super technical with it, but
yeah.
like street setbacks,
Yep,
height
exactly what I
requirements,
want.
parking requirements,
sure.
that sort of thing. What are the variances that you're actually requesting from the city
Yep.
to basically? Yeah. What are the variances you're requesting the city?
Yes. Yep. As I mentioned in my intro, uh,
Mhm.
well, let me go through them. So the first one is that um, in East Boston, it's a roof structure restriction district. So anytime you put something on top of an existing building, you are required to get a conditional use permit, which is different than a variance. It's just to ensure that rooftop additions don't, mar the existing roof rhythm or anything like that. So conditional use permit for a restricted roof structure being the top floor. Um, it's in an EBR3 subdistrict, which permits 3 units as of right. So the fourth unit, the addition on the top floor with that extra unit, um, requires a variance from the use requirements in the EBR3 subdistrict. Um, the building height and stories in this subdistrict is 3 stories, 35 feet, and this would be 4 stories, 38 feet, so 3 feet over the existing. But there are contextually other 4 story buildings, including one directly across that private way and some others in this neighborhood. So it's not anomalous to have that be a feature. And then there are 2 yard insufficiencies. Front yard and side yard are insufficient, but those are owing to existing conditions, which, because of the small lot size and the building being right up to the lot line, front and side are existing conditions. So two existing conditions, two variances for height in feet and stories, the use variance and the conditional use for the fourth story. Interestingly, ISD neglected to cite that this property is in the groundwater conservation overlay district, but part of Elion's plans include installation of a groundwater recharge system, which would capture the rainwater from the roof and divert it into a dry well in the rear yard area. Um, but they further amended the zoning code to sort of take approval of G-code systems out of the code for smaller residential projects. So we're doing it anyway, and its omission is not critical. Those are the items of zoning relief.
Thank you for that.
Hmm.
I did see Margaret. Do you want to speak to your you're on mute, Margaret.
Yep. Let me get off
Sorry.
mute there. I just want to say that I do support outside space. I do actually support roof decks. As long as they're not shared by an entire building, I think it's a great idea. I would say that we have a strong precedent here in the community for having roof decks be recessed at least 4 to 6 feet so that the fencing that is surrounding the roof deck is not visible from the streetscape, or at least not immediately visible. We don't want something that looks like it's like hanging down. Um, certainly you should, I'd like to see it included. I think it raises people's quality of life. It makes them more aware of air quality issues here in the community. But at the same time, there is a roof level that should be maintained, and a certain level of attractiveness that everyone would like to see continue on. So that's what I would say is that I'd like to see the roof deck recessed a little slightly more so that it's not visible from the streetscape.
Yep, understood. It's pretty tiny, but we'll make that effort, especially with the 2 foot bump out in the front. Perhaps there's room to maneuver enough, to pull it back so that the roof deck railing is not visible, and or come up with some other way to, disguise it, maybe with a planter or something. We'll take that into consideration.
I just
Yeah,
don't
I
want to see
noticed in the
furniture.
I'm sorry, I missed the last part.
Sorry, I said I just don't want to see anybody's lawn furniture.
Right, understood.
yeah, I did notice in some of those images there was a lot of like planters or some sort of small evergreens or something like that surrounding that kind of front. That would be nice to sort of block that
Yep.
view off.
Consistent with the contemporary design of what you see.
Sure.
It's, the structure decidedly
Yep.
trying to be contemporary
Mhm.
and to show that it was built today, not fake historical, like it, was built 100 years ago. Because generally the planning department staff, urban designers, direct you to make it look like it was built today, not mimic historic. If there and there's not much to save to this structure in terms of a historical appearance. It's kind of run down.
Sorry if you're my son there. Uh, I do want to say I think that's very cool about the art on the side, Ilian. I just big fan of public art, and I think it's really cool that you're willing to sort of to do that. I definitely think the neighborhood would appreciate it. Hopefully, I don't know if anybody has any specific suggestions now or in the future, something like that, but perhaps you'd be open to suggestions on things to put in your side. I mean, it is your house after. But that is a pretty cool image and stuff like that. But definitely appreciated that you're willing to put something out there. That's pretty cool to make the neighborhood that much more special.
Actually, just
I
refer to it as
go ahead.
his house, which reminds me of something I didn't mention, which is these are not going to be units for sale. Elion is keeping this structure. This is an investment that he's doing, that he's creating these units. He's going to hold, and these will be rental units.
Okay. What that's good information. What's for some of those middle floor, what's the square foot if you don't have it right off the top of your head, but what's the square footage for some of these units?
Leon, do you have that off the top of your head, Elion? I think they're
You're on mute,
800-ish. Oh, Elian, you're on mute.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see. So,
can you hear me
Ryan,
now?
yeah,
Yes.
you're good.
Yeah, the first floor is around 1,200 square feet.
Because
The
it's the
second and third will be around 700, and then the top floor, I believe, just below 500.
yep.
Okay. Cool. And you're gonna rent all four.
Yeah.
Hi there. Can you hear me? Um,
Yep.
yes. Okay. Hi. I'm Ryan. I just asked that question in the chat on the square feet. Could I just clarify how that the second and third floor units are going to be 700 square feet? Because it looks like this whole lot is only 795 square feet.
We're
Um,
bumping it 2 feet in the front and 2 feet in the back.
okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I just not quite sure how the math works on that, but um,
795, if I have to be exact.
okay. Yeah. And I mean, I was just wondering about that because, to be honest, putting 4 units on this building footprint seems excessive. Um, I think 2 or 3 units makes a lot of sense here. Um, yeah, it just seems like there's going to be a lot of, yeah, just looking at the plans, a lot of kind of tiny bedrooms, and I'm not even sure I fully understand how the interior circulation works. It looks kind of like the first floor kind of enters into the first unit, and it's not really separated out for like the stairs. So yeah, I'm just wondering why 4 units rather than say 2 or 3.
Well, it's always a function of cost of construction, and this is a substantial gut renovation that's very expensive. And adding the upper floor creates the opportunity to create an additional housing unit, and it's abundantly clear that um, throughout the entire city of Boston, there is a sustained and chronic and persistent housing shortage. And there are, countless dozens of reports that have been prepared by the planning department talking about the need for X number of housing units over the next many years in the city of Boston. Um, and on the notion of, the size of units, there are minimum size requirements, and these satisfy all of those. But there are a lot of people that like small units. This notion that all units have to be a certain size. I have a client in the South End that built smaller units, and they just flew like hotcakes because there are a lot of people that just want smaller spaces and want to consume less space for themselves. So a function of just the economics of how expensive it is to do a gut reno and add a sprinkler system and a fire suppression system and a groundwater recharge system and make it a modern contemporary building, and just the marketability of smaller units. There are a lot of people that truly like smaller spaces, and it satisfies just creating it's one extra housing unit over what's permissible as of right in this neighborhood three. And again, there are plenty of examples of other buildings in the surrounding area that are more than 3 units. So density wise, it's not unlike a whole lot of buildings that are in the area or are being proposed. So that's what I would say about that.
I did just pull up the plans. It looks like here for the first floor. So just to confirm, so like the basement right now of the building is just utilities or
Right.
just empty
Yeah.
storage space. It looks like you guys are going to put a kitchen
Yeah.
in there and kind of the living space, and then on the actual first floor for the first unit,
Yep.
the first above ground floor, it looks like you got the 3 bedrooms and the 2 baths in there.
Yep. That's right.
Got it.
Yep.
Um,
Oops.
Ryan, are you good, Ryan? I didn't want to
Oh,
jump in your thunder there.
yeah, no, thanks for that response. And just to be clear, I don't oppose, small units or density as, you know, I think 3 units on this would be great. I do think, considering just its location, it's sort of in this like alleyway with a lot of like single and two-family homes. And you mentioned that there is a 4 unit right across Everett Court, but that's on a double lot. Like those are 2 lots that were combined. So
Yep.
I do think that this density on this lot would make it among the densest parcels in Jeffries Point. Um, there's a cool tool you can look up on MHP's website called Residensity. And you just look at the density per acre, that makes it like well over 200. when the average in Jeffrey's Point is closer to 100. And so I do think it is a little bit out of line. And I think adding that fourth unit, I get the economics of it. I get that you need rentable space. I just also wonder how adding the whole other floor is obviously going to be its own cost of itself. And that unit can't be much more than 450, 500 square
Close,
feet. So, I mean,
close to
I get
500.
that there's the economics of it, and I don't, like I said, I think really for me, it's just a matter of whether this is 3 or 4 units. And just in terms of it's like fitting with the context of there's like a row of single family houses right now that's there. And, these are some of the oldest houses on the street. And it, it does feel like in this context, that number of units is a bit much, but I fully support the redevelopment of the house, just to be clear. It's been sitting vacant for quite a few years, and it'll be good to have people living there and, adding some units to help the affordable housing crisis. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Understood all that you say. Thank you.
I do have, oh, Margaret, go ahead. I do have a couple of questions in the chat, but go ahead, Margaret.
I do just want to I want to confirm I didn't hear you say any someone just said the words, so I just want to follow up and clarify. I didn't hear any of the words about affordable housing, so I assume these are all going to be market rate. Could you confirm that?
Yeah, 4 is well below the inclusionary zoning threshold, so yes.
Yeah. And number two, I apologize. I was taking some notes while you presented. With 4 units, could you go over like where the trash is going to be and where trash barrels can be stored externally? It sounds like you're filling a big chunk of the lot, and that's a major issue here in Jeffrey's Point that people don't have a place to put. Like there are no outside barrel, when there's no outside barrels for development, the problem becomes that people then have to find a way to dispose of their trash, and they tend to either do it at their neighbors or in our local parks. So could you just review your trash plan?
Yep. Tyler, if you could pull up the elevations
Yeah, yeah.
on the side
Let me do
elevation, there's a
that.
carve out on the side of the building at street level for trash receptacle storage area. Yep.
So I
Um,
think that
on the elevation.
was it back here, proposed back elevation with the
No,
bicycle parking? Oh,
there it is
no, right
on the
here.
left there. So enlarge that. That's
I don't think I can make it any bigger,
okay.
unfortunately.
All right, but
Sorry.
there it is, considered and
Okay.
understood to be a very tricky issue. Yeah,
Can I say something about the trash?
yeah, of course.
Yes, so the system that I'm proposing is attached to the building. So when the trash is removed, the barrel goes back against the wall. It's not lingering on the street,
Okay.
which is quite annoying. So we've calculated we have room for 5 barrels, so four for each unit and one recycling, but they're going back into place. They're clicking back into the building.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do want to, I got a couple of, I do have one in the chat, in case you guys didn't see, somebody very supportive of also of the mural of the public art, which is great. I do have a couple of questions. Mark, can you speak to, I noticed you didn't, I might have missed it. Did you mention any parking variances? I know there's you guys have the one space, which is net new. But presumably did the city knock you for the other parking spaces?
No, because there is no parking requirement that is implicated under the new zoning.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember going over this in
Yeah.
because parking is always an issue, right? Except under the
Mhm.
new East Boston zoning in this particular subdistrict, uh, yep, concluded and ISD did not cite parking because it's not an issue.
Okay. And then where
Housing, not cars.
I I have unpopular views on that particular subject. I don't
I
actually
just,
I
tell it like
no,
it
I don't disagree with that statement, but I don't want to cause the ire of anybody else. The I do have a question about the mechanicals. Um, like central, like where, presumably you're getting rid of kind of the basement now, where I'm assuming the buildings probably your hot water heater and your furnace or whatever are. Will each unit have their own sort of mechanical room?
Yeah,
And then on the exterior, are you doing like a central air? Are you doing heat pumps?
most likely it will be heat pumps. Um,
Okay.
where the deck is right now, that will be removed where the parking is going to go.
Mhm.
And then against the building, you're going to have the condensers.
Okay, so you'd sort of have the condensers on the back, flush against the building
Exactly.
at you think at the ground level, like right where the car is?
Yeah, most
Or
likely unit 1 and 2 will have the condensers against that wall, and then 3 and 4 probably on the roof. Whatever my contractor suggests, I'm not sure.
okay, okay, all right. I just the ones on the roof just sort of it's sort of like a setback, from a view
Yeah, yeah.
point of view. But yeah, okay. Um, okay. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Or I shouldn't say that. I'm supposed to say, what questions does everyone have?
And
Supposed to,
comment.
yeah,
And
yeah,
comment.
and comment. While you all think of another question or comment to have, I do want to reiterate, um, if you do come up or think of something later, you always feel free to reach out to us at board@jeffreyspoint.org, and we'd be happy to forward your question along and get a response back for you. This presentation, we will have another one of these. I perhaps getting a little forward. I don't, unless we get a huge, major series of questions or concerns. Our next meeting about this will probably be a voting meeting at a full uh, regular monthly meetings. So we'll have a chance to listen to this presentation again and then vote on it. So again, you will have an opportunity to speak again on this. And again, anything you send over to us, we'll send forward and bring forward and things like that. So I don't want to think people, it's not a speak now or forever hold your peace situation. You will get another chance to comment.
As well
Um,
as at the zoning board of appeal hearing where public testimony is permitted by the board when they hear the
yeah,
case.
yes, after they go through the neighborhood process, they get to repeat the entire thing with the city, where you also have your opportunity to publicly comment as well.
Yeah, 5 minutes or less. Keep it brief, says the Madam Chair. Keep it brief.
um, but I don't see any additional questions in the chat. So I do want to thank Mark and Elian. Thank you guys for taking the time to present to us this evening. Um, Again, the recording of this will be available. Give us a couple of days, but it will be available via a link on our website at jeffreyspoint.org. And also all the plans, everything that we just looked at, the blueprints and those couple of pictures, those also are available on our website. If you just go over to kind of the development subheader and follow the links to the project form, it's pretty self-explanatory. You'll be able to find everything that was presented today. So with that, I want to say thank you very much, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Mark and Ilion will be in touch in the next day or two to kind of let you guys know next steps and things like that.
Thank
Great.
you,
Thank you
everyone.
for
Okay.
hosting. Appreciate everyone's time and comments and feedback. Thank you so much.
All right.
Have a good
Thanks
night, guys.
everybody for the time. Have a great night.
You too.
Have a good evening.
All
Bye.
right. Bye now.
Oh, could you turn off the recording?
You're good.